Hello one and all, and welcome to Behind the Glass. Now, I have to kick things off with a big apology because it's been far too long since I recorded one of these episodes. I'm afraid with all the planning that is going on for Drive the World next year, I simply haven't found time to sit down and record a podcast. However, do not worry, the podcast is not over, it is not gone. It will feature throughout next year's big adventure. I'm currently working hard behind the scenes to find ways to sort of improve how I present and record these podcasts to ensure that we can keep them regular and routine next year. There are a few more episodes to come this year before I leave, and today is one of those episodes. You may have seen that last week I headed to Lisbon, Portugal with BMW for the Web Summit, and whilst I was there, BMW introduced me to Tom from the Tech Chap. He is a very interesting guy who runs a YouTube channel at a very similar size to me, just under 400,000 subscribers, but focused in and around tech. So we decided to sit down and have a chat about how automotive and tech seem to be continuously pushing themselves together. It was a really interesting chat that was filmed in the BMW stand at the Web Summit, so you're going to have to forgive me because there's a lot of background noise, especially at the beginning. It does quieten down a bit, but hopefully you can still hear what Tom and I are saying. I also have to apologise to Tom because I kick-started the entire podcast by calling his channel the wrong name. I introduced him as the Tech Guy instead of the Tech Chap, it just shows how distracted I am at the moment with everything going on, but it's no excuse. I was incredibly unprofessional and very rude. So, Tom, if you're watching, apologies again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tom from the Tech Chap. Anyway, enough of my intro. Let's crack on with today's podcast. The Tech Chap. That was awful.
So I'm Tom from the Tech Chap.
This is Tom from the Tech Chap.
Great to be here, Sam.
Welcome to Behind the Glass.
You've done your research.
I will now spend the rest of the podcast telling you how amazing you are.
No, I love it. It's great to be here.
Content.
Thank you for having me on, dude. This is amazing.
I really appreciate you coming and joining me because we are currently on the BMW stand here at the Web Summit in Lisbon, and it's my first time ever at a tech conference, so I feel like I need you to guide me through this chaos.
This is my first time at Web Summit, but I've done CES, MWC, IFA, Computex, so yeah, I've done a few.
Incredible.
But this is good. This is like a nice, easy way in. It's not too hectic, but it's still pretty cool.
It's the most overwhelming thing I've ever been to in my life. What are you talking about?
I'll have to take you to Vegas for CEX then.
Okay. Well, this conference for automotive people makes Geneva Motor Show look like a stroll in the park. But look, before we get into the sort of wide-ranging topics we want to cover off today, let's introduce you to my audience and all of my listeners and viewers. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started your channel, what it features, etc.
Sure. Well, as Sam rightly said, as the Tech Chap.
That's exactly. Don't ever say it's the Tech Guy because that would be wrong. It's the Tech
I'm very
Chap.
offensive. So I've been doing it for about 4 years, full-time for 1 year. I used to work as a video producer at Trusted Reviews in the UK, so they kind of elevated my level of video production and things like that. But now, since last November, I've been doing it full time. I'm just about to hit 400,000 subs. So you and I are
literally
like a couple of thousand between.
Which is amazing and great.
Whoever gets to 400,000 first
buys the other one an i8.
Buys the other one a BMW i8.
No, because then you don't want to get to 400k first. Whoever gets there second
buys an i8. It's agreed. It has to happen because we make that kind of money.
Yeah, that's YouTube. Hello.
No, so I do tech. I do. A lot of the tech YouTubers just do one thing: phones, laptops. I can't do a bit of everything. It's whatever I find interesting because it's my life. So I may as well.
But how did it become your life? Because tech, forgive me, is a little nerdy. Like, were you always?
What?
Hey, I'm the biggest nerd in this room. So, were you always into sort of computers and phones and everything growing up? And it's just a natural interest?
I remember building PCs with my dad when I was like 10, and the first time we got a LAN network with the original Deus Ex to work, the first multiplayer experience we had on PC. It's just that sort of stuff is in the blood. But I didn't know I was going to do this. I did a law degree, and then that didn't work out. So that's a lot of money for no reason. But then, after I finished uni, I was a bit not sure what to do, and then I just watched a lot of YouTube. I like to try and get the latest phones. So I think my first video was the LG G3 phone. which is a terrible video. Do not watch it, even though it's still live. But you'd like to see the difference of how you fire your car.
It is. It's interesting to see. Yeah, absolutely. Those first initial videos when you're just kind of trying it out, aren't you? You're dipping your toe in the water. Awful. I mean, my whole first one was filmed point of view because I was too embarrassed to be on camera.
I mean, that's a cool style anyway, but each one I just try and make it less bad. And I think
that's
honestly,
the best thing to aim for.
If you're not embarrassed by your videos from 6 months ago, then you've not really progressed enough. That's the way I like to look at it.
Well said,
but I love
sir.
it. It's the best job in the world, as I'm sure yours is with cars. And I'm glad we're talking because, like, I do tech, you do cars, but there's such a crossover with in-car tech and autonomous vehicles, electric cars.
That's exactly it, and that's a big part of what we want to talk about today. Is this sort of ever merging worlds of cars and tech, and because this is predominantly a car-focused podcast, let's go into a little bit of your car history. Firstly, personal car history and experiences, but then also stuff you've been doing on the Tech Chap that is automotive related. So yeah, personal history first. What was your first car?
I still drive my first car.
Bravo.
It's a Ford Fiesta.
Yes. Engine?
It's a 1 litre turbo.
Okay, brilliant.
So,
you got the word turbo in there, so you're happy.
EcoBoost, so you're happy. It's in. The color is. I like to call it midnight champagne gold.
Oh, sure. That sounds awful.
But it's brown.
It's brown. Midnight champagne gold.
Technically, Ford called it fashionista brown, and they discontinued it due to unpopularity.
And you ended up with it. Brilliant.
I got a good deal on it.
Make it your own.
Make it my own. I don't have to see it. I'm in it. It's everyone else who suffers.
There you go. I really do not want to film that car, but I'm glad you enjoy it.
So that's my personal car.
Okay.
I've had some experience. Like I've done work events with Jaguar and BMW and Audi. So like I've played with some nicer cars, and I've just come back from a road trip and this road test in the Roadster i8.
What did you think? That's your first time in the i8, right?
Yeah, $150,000 car. I had a quick drive of it as well, and I was petrified.
Do you not think it's like no other BMW when you get inside?
Yeah, it feels like a hyper, super futuristic car.
Yes.
It's not a traditional car. It's futuristic, and I love that.
It's why the I models are my favourite BMWs, because when you step inside them, they feel not only futuristic for the whole automotive space, but especially for BMW.
They really do, and I love that. And I think for you as well, with tech, that futuristic stuff just gets me. I love it.
I can see you salivating already.
So yeah, it was beautiful. I want one.
Okay, well, so let's do dream car quickly then. Have you got an all-time, and where does the i8 Roadster now fit in?
I mean, it's pretty high up. I mean, of all time, I always wanted a Pagani Zonda.
Oh yes, you're going to go down very well on this podcast.
I think from Gran Turismo 4 originally or something.
Okay.
But like when I first got played it on the PlayStation, but like the quad exhaust, just a stupid, crazy, insane styling. Like, of course, I've always wanted a normal 3 Series or an Audi A4 or something like that. But like supercars, when I was growing up, I loved. I had a Lamborghini Countach on my wall.
Okay.
My brother wanted the Diablo, but I was always a Countach.
Countach, I don't know, but I'm a dabbler, man. So
Diablo's a beautiful car.
Yeah, it's just meaner. I think I like modern shiny things, basically.
So do I. But I mean, over the years it's changed. But I love the new DB10s. Aston Martin.
DB11,
sorry,
yeah, very nice Grand Tour. No, DB10 was the James Bond car,
that's right.
You can appreciate that. Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
Car. I mean, honestly, anything is better than my Fiesta.
Hey, don't knock the midnight champagne fizz. What was it?
Fashionista, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit brown.
Well, you mentioned briefly that you have been doing some work now with some more, I guess, high-end cars or prestige cars and stuff, and I see that because there is this interesting crossover between tech and automotive, and so many launches I go on nowadays firstly have more tech journalists attending, but also tech plays a big role in those launches. Car makers are talking about how much tech are in these various cars. Now, as a petrol head, I never really like that term, as a petrol head, or a driving,
Don't say it like that,
a driving enthusiast, I'm never that fussed about technology.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by mechanical technology, whether the car's going faster.
Yeah.
I'm not that fussed about sat navs.
I get that.
Things.
Nor am I.
Okay, well, but as a tech freak, I'm going to call you. I'm doing well here, aren't I? We're going to be best friends by the end of this. As a tech obsessive. Is it no? Okay, as a tech fan.
Sure. Stop.
As someone who knows about tech.
Enthusiast.
Are you impressed by this sort of new push for cars to have more tech in them, or is it a bit of a gimmick? Like, is it actual technology? Like, what is being implemented which makes you go, now that is cool? Like touchscreens,
Sure.
Stuff like that. Talk to me.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think in some cases, until recently, it's all been terrible.
Okay.
Infotainment. Like,
I'm so glad you agree.
Every manufacturer has their own system. Yes, finally we're getting a bit of sort of Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but that's still.
Well, they only
exciting.
just added Google Maps about 2 weeks ago, didn't they?
But that is still better than most in-car sat-navs. So historically, they're bad. So I'm first of all great to see they're actually either putting some real effort into it, like BMW is, or they're putting some good systems in. But it can go too far, like the Audi A8, where you have this double touchscreen system, and it becomes such a distraction from drivers. And I love a touchscreen. I love touchy stuff. As you say, I'm a tech freak, whatever you call it.
Yes.
But you can go
so
too
glad
far.
You're running
and
with
if
that.
if it's unsafe, you're literally getting distracted from the road. Physical dials, physical buttons. There's room for both. So from an infotainment perspective, yes, I'd love to see good stuff. I don't want it to go too far. Pure touch, when the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3. I think they've updated it now, but originally to change the temperature, you had to move your finger up and down across the screen, opt for the temperature across for where it's coming out.
Then you have to do a spell and Expelliarmus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because that's how it works.
Expecto Patronum.
No petroleum. So that's just too much. But
yes.
They're optimizing it. They're figuring it out. But that's infotainment. But at the same time, we're seeing lots of autonomous driving now. We're seeing AI in cars. We're seeing graphics cards companies like Nvidia putting GPUs in cars. We're getting AI, deep learning. There's such a crossover behind the scenes of tech and cars, which is so exciting.
I think that's exactly it. On a consumer-facing level, from the sort of skin upwards. No, that's not making a lot of sense. But what we see as drivers, I agree, is getting a little bit too much. I'm not a fan of all these touchscreens. I do find it very dangerous.
Yes.
Distracting. I'm often fiddling around trying to find how to put my heated seat on.
Showing off.
Yeah, and not looking down the road, which is always a negative, I'd have to say. And also, as again a driving enthusiast, there's that plug. I just want to concentrate on driving. I don't want the experience, and I don't care about, doing the sort of bass increase on my sound system and, Okay, so we're here on this BMW stand, and they've just launched the BMW, the personal assistant, the new intelligent personal assistant, which is essentially like a Siri or an Alexa for the car.
It's
now,
really cool.
Okay, so this is something that I think is incredibly useful.
I agree.
And something that has been missing from cars for a long time. Because if you look at all this stuff that they're trying to implement into the infotainment system, instead of distracting us with touchscreens, why not just let us talk to the car?
Absolutely.
That surely
Voice recognition
is the future.
is getting a lot better. I mean, it is. You still have to say, hey, BMW or something, and there's still a pause. Oh, I didn't quite catch that. It's in its infancy, but I completely agree. A hands-off experience, smart speaker tech, it's going to get better.
I think it has to, and for me, as you say, it's in its infancy. Am I right in saying across the... I don't even think Siri and Alexa are that great. Am I wrong there? Sorry, is that controversial?
I mean, it's not controversial. I mean, they're amazing given where we were a few years ago, but you're right, they're still not there.
There's still holes, and the problem is when you're driving a car along the road at 70 miles an hour, you get a ton of road noise, and it's even harder for the computer to pick up what you're saying.
If you say call mum and it calls
someone else,
it
could be awkward.
Yeah, it can be very awkward. You have to go along with it.
So I would like to see a push towards voice activated commands and controls rather than this sort of dependency on infotainment, touch screens, etc. But let's come on to the other point that you made a few moments ago, which is the sort of beneath the skin stuff. I've had a complete mind blank there. I got distracted by someone's trainers, sorry. The artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Are you a fan of autonomous cars and autonomous driving as someone who's maybe not as much of a driving enthusiast?
So I've been lucky enough to drive the Model 3 and the Model S.
Okay.
And I've done autonomous driving with it, the boom boom, and then it goes into... I mean, you
just release everything?
But you can't release everything, because you have to have your hands on the wheel or it tells you off. So you may as well drive. but it is cool.
Do you?
I love it, but it's not. Why? Unless you're getting fully autonomous, which you can. So I'm almost like, especially if you're doing long motorway driving, great. But as you said earlier, do you want tech to take away from that driving experience? Like when you've got 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds on a Model S or something, and just the experience of an electric car or any car, why would you want to just sit in a passenger seat?
I think there are times in our lives when we're in cars that autonomy would be fantastic.
Sure.
So
Stop
traffic,
right.
Absolutely, and long motorway journeys, for sure. I query at the moment safety. I don't believe these systems, and the fact that 99% of the other cars on the road aren't going to be autonomous, I think is just a little bit of a scary thought.
Yeah.
And also, yes, you still want to be able to take control and enjoy driving and have that freedom of getting in a car and going wherever you like. I think
you still have that though, to be fair. It's an option.
You do, but I think there's often pictures or visions of a future 20, 30 years in advance where you don't even see steering wheels in cars.
Right.
And is this the direction that we're going to end up going? And is tech going to become such a feature in automotive that really the actual mechanical driving experience is going to be taken away from us?
I think there'll be option. Like I worked with Volvo recently, who have this concept car of, it's not so much replacing your normal car, but like you would get in it and replace short haul flights. It'd be a long distance commuter, and you call up a thing. And I'm sure maybe BMW have their own similar ideas. So it's not going to replace your day-to-day car, but like you'll get into a pod, an autonomous vehicle pod with no steering wheel, but then you can work, you can sleep,
and you can look at the view, which I hate flying because you can't see what's below you.
Right. Wait, do you want a glass?
No, I definitely don't, because I actually don't enjoy planes that much these days. But
no.
I like being on the ground because you get to really take in views. So don't get me wrong, if you were literally doing point A to point B in the fastest time possible, and it's just on a motorway, why not have autonomy? But I don't like the idea of a world where steering wheels are taken away from us and the options are taken away from us. And I do feel like a lot of the safety features, technology, safety features are starting to impede on the driving experience. And yes, you can turn them off, but so many cars I get into now with lane assist and heads-up display,
everything's binging and bonging.
Everything's binging. I've been in cars where brakes get applied for me, and and I don't want that.
Maybe you should drive a bit more safely.
Because I'm driving like a lunatic. But that's my concern. Is a world where we're starting. I'm big for infotainment benefits. I'm big for certain driving improvements, but I don't want to lose actually being able to get in a car and drive for enjoyment.
But I don't think you will lose that. It's just an option. But you do see every single manufacturer saying by 2020, 2021, we're going to invest so heavily in autonomy, in electric vehicles, and that's a different kettle of fish. You can have a non-autonomous electric car.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's still like a halfway house here. But everyone's jumping on it. BMW as well, of course. So
I don't know whether to dip a toe into the electric conversation or not. At the minute, I have a little electric Twizy in London, which is hilarious. It's a go-kart. I mean, it's tiny. And obviously here we're surrounded by i3s and i8s.
I mean, soon you're going to buy me an i8.
I know. Well, I fucking hope not. Come on, guys. But I'm sort of really coming around towards the idea of electric vehicles in cities. I think it makes sense.
Short commutes, small distances.
Short commutes, absolutely. Let's try and save this world that we're living on. But also, what's the need to drive around in a huge hunking V8 or V6 or whatever in a city? There's just no real need or point. So why not go electric? That I'm a fan of. But I also miss the rumble of an engine, and I miss power.
You miss the growl of it, but also do you enjoy the torque of an electric car?
Yeah, talk of an electric car is pretty damn brilliant. The amount of times I've been beaten off the lights in London by an i3. Killer, right? So again, let's just come back to the way that you are sort of being pulled into the automotive world. In my mind, I feel like a lot of car companies are reinventing themselves at the moment, going from that traditional sense of being a manufacturer and trying to become a brand.
Yes.
We're here now in a beautiful coffee house, which is the BMW stand here at the Web Summit. I mean, we could be in Amsterdam or Shoreditch or somewhere super trendy.
Yeah.
And it is a part of that sort of, that experience. You want to be buying into a brand or a badge.
I agree.
More than just the cars. And so, is it important how the car drives or feels, do you think?
Honestly, I don't know if that is true. I think people have a quick test drive and be like, yeah, it's great, of course it is. But how much experience have they really got in trying other cars? Of course it's going to be great if you're spending a whole bunch of money on a good car. But I completely agree with you, and I think it's like Apple is considered more of a lifestyle brand than a tech brand. And I think it could be considered car companies want to go that way. BMW maybe want to be seen as also like a lifestyle brand. You want to be part of that family, that community. Of course, they have the fantastic cars, but there's more to the badge than just the CCs and the infotainment screen size.
It's about being part of that sort of family, and in the world of social media that we unfortunately operate in, it's all about image and the way that you portray yourself, and people are desperate to portray themselves in a certain way. And so if you can align yourself with a brand, let's say you're really into your technology and electric vehicles, BMW are trying to position themselves as the company, the car to have, because it fits that lifestyle image.
It does.
And I think that's interesting. It goes away from losers like me who are like, wow, did it unsteer at 35 miles an hour? That's all I care about.
That sounds just like you.
It does when I'm not on camera. That's my true voice. And so it's an interesting shift. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts. Please comment below and obviously tweet to Seen Through Glass, hashtag Behind the Glass, and let me know what you think. Do you think the sort of technology is becoming too much in vehicles these days? And are you a fan of the push towards everything going a little bit electric?
But more importantly, is it wrong to drive a brown Fiesta?
Yeah, and can you get me to 400,000 subs before Tom? I think we can.
No, me first.
It's a very expensive day for him. Anyway, I feel like our coffees are probably waiting over at the very trendy bar over there about now.
Far too fancy for us.
Far too fancy for us. So we're going to draw this podcast to a close. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Tom, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
I really appreciate you having me on.
I really appreciate you coming in and joining me. Of course, if you want to check out all the stuff that Tom is doing.
Tech Chap.
The Tech Chap.
Instagram, Twitter, like and subscribe on YouTube. It'd be great to have collaborate more and get you guys to check my stuff out, and I love Sam's work and
future car launches. I feel like I need you to come along and sit in the seat next to me and go, no, don't listen to all that spiel they just told you. This isn't good. That is blah, blah, blah. So yeah, maybe Tom can pull apart some infotainment systems. But yeah, give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.